guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, the Bright Side Girl, and today we're going to be talking about Frankenstein. So originally I was going to go all out for this video. I was gonna get a wig and like an outfit, but it's almost the end of the month. I want to get this recommendations video out for you guys. You can maybe squeeze in one of these books before the end of the month or just add them to your TBR for next year. So today you're just getting the makeup with my clashing blonde hair, somewhat Frankenstein bride-esque. So I read Frankenstein a couple of years ago because I just love a good Frankenstein retelling and I wanted to read the original text. This is actually a really good classic. Like, I could see how some people would find it boring, but I didn't. I just thought it was really good. It's not very spooky. It's more kind of thought-provoking and contemplative because you're kind of contemplating like man and his creation, whether the monster is Frankenstein himself or the monster he creates. I just really highly recommend reading this one. It helps if you get like a pretty classic. I'm so glad that I have this under my belt. So today I'm going to recommend some of my favorite Frankenstein retellings or Frankenstein monster-esque books, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope you try to read some of these books because they are some of my all-time favorite, and let me know if you know of any more down below in the comments. I haven't read a retelling that I haven't loved yet. I have a couple more on my list, but not too many, so we're just gonna dive right in. We're gonna start off with a couple of loosely Frankenstein retelling-esque books. So this is Spare and Found Parts by Sarah Marie Griffin. This is probably one of my least favorite on the list, but I do still recommend it. It's kind of got a steampunk vibe. Our main character's dad has inserted like a ticking heart to save her life into her body. She's always been very lonely. She doesn't have any friends, and one day when she discovers a mannequin hand lying on a table in her father's office, she decides if her father can build parts, so can she, and she builds like this robot boy to be like her friend or maybe more. So it's got kind of a like Frankenstein-esque vibe to it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really sweet. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars. It's just kind of simple and fun and kind of steampunky and different than other things that I've read. Then we have Monstrous by Marcy K. Connolly. This is a middle grade book about a monster girl. Our main character, Chimera, lives with her dad in a castle, and she is not allowed to go out at certain times because she's a little different than other girls in her town. Girls keep disappearing, being taken from an evil wizard, and she goes out to kind of try and solve the mystery. She's kind of isolated. She's got like a monster-esque to her. I really like this one. I like Marcy K. Connolly's writing style a ton. So this one I think I gave 4 stars. A fabulous middle grade and great for Halloween. Can't find my copy, which is kind of sad because I just bought it, but Hearts and Other Body Parts by Ira Bloom. This is, I think this might be my favorite book to read around Halloween. So this one doesn't have as heavy of a Frankenstein's monster trope to it. There is just a boy in here that's got kind of a Frankenstein monster look about him. He looks like he's kind of been put back together. But this is just a great book for Halloween in general. It does mention a little bit of Frankenstein lore as well as Dracula lore. It's set in modern times. There are 3 witches that are sisters. There's a talking cat. There's magical spells and mystery, and it's so good. It's very, very, very Halloween perfect and fun. This one is a 5-star read for me, and I highly, highly recommend it. I'm quickly going to mention the Madman's Daughter series. So this series is The Madman's Daughter, and then has 2 other books in the series. This first book is following Isle of Dr. Moreau, is a retelling of that. But the second, I believe it's the second book, is a light Frankenstein retelling. You do need to read them in order. They're not completely separate stories, but the second book does have kind of Frankenstein monster-y type things. She has like a connection to Frankenstein and her family, and this is one of my favorite series. This first book is the best, but I do like the second and the third one quite a bit. This one is a little bit on the spookier side and has a couple of small trigger warnings, so you might want to look those up if you're a little bit worried about slightly spookier books. It is still YA, so it's nothing like too intense or overly gory or anything, and it's romantic. It's set in the Victorian era. She's trying to find her dad. It's so great. I recommend reading the entire series. They're all 3 loosely based on retellings. We also have one that's got a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Super, super good. And this one was 5 stars and the rest were 4 stars for me. Then we have This Dark Endeavor by Kenneth Opel. This is a duology. So this is considered a prequel to the original Frankenstein novel. This is following Victor Frankenstein as a young boy with him and his brother. So Victor is a twin. His brother Conrad falls ill and is said to not have very long to live. Victor can't allow this to happen, so he sets off on a journey to try and find like a cure or a magical cure with his cousin Elizabeth and his friend Henry. So we get our original players in here. This one is super good. It's a little bit more fantastical than I was expecting. It ends fabulous, and the second one is just as good as well. I believe I gave these 4.5 or 5 stars. I loved them, and these were the books that kind of set me really looking for more Frankenstein retellings because I thought they were great, and I loved that this was based on Victor as a teenage boy. Again, I can't find my copy of this, but I know I have one, is This Monstrous Thing by Mackenzie Lee. So this one again kind of follows like as a prequel to Frankenstein, somewhat retelling. So we're following Victor. I think again, like his brother has died and he's very upset. Him and his dad are, I think they're called clock workers or makers. This has a very steampunk vibe about it, which I loved. So it has a twist on this like fantasy steampunk version of Frankenstein. Victor and his dad kind of illegally fix mechanical men. So men that have had their parts, like their arms and legs replaced with mechanical things, and like they stop working well. Like they're humans, but they've had things replaced by mechanical things. And they're basically mechanics for humans, but this is like considered illegal. So they kind of have to do it on the down low, and mechanical men are kind of looked down upon, and there's a prejudice there. So that's really interesting. And Victor, I think his brother has died or something like that. He's like really sad and trying to kind of work through these emotions. And then there's the romance and all that kind of stuff. It is so good. The ending is especially fantastic. I can't even decide if I like this Dark Endeavor or This Monstrous Thing more because I love it. I love them both so much. So this one was definitely 5 stars for me, and I want to look into getting some more steampunk books because I enjoyed this so much. And then lastly, one of my other favorite Frankenstein retellings is The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Kirsten White. So this is a retelling of Frankenstein from Elizabeth's perspective, who was Frankenstein's wife. And this has a great twist on the original, but it still has all of the goodness of the original in here. So if you want to find out whether you're interested in Frankenstein, I would actually suggest reading this one first. It's definitely got a twist, so it's not the original story, but it's probably the closest to the original story that I have read, other than the twists that happened in here. You've got Henry in here. We even get a little preview of Mary Shelley in here, the author of Frankenstein. I'm obsessed with Mary Shelley, by the way. I went to see Kirsten White actually talk about this book at our local library, and she talked about the research she did on Mary Shelley. I can't wait to watch the movie about Mary Shelley because she was just an awesome lady, and basically Frankenstein was the original sci-fi book. She came up with it based on like a dare with her husband and his friends, her famous husband and his famous friends. The backstory on the actual Frankenstein is super interesting, and Mary Shelley is awesome. She's an awesome lady. So I highly recommend this book. I absolutely loved it. One of my all-time favorites. The audio is especially good. It's very short as well. Perfect for Halloween time or any time of the year. Definitely 5 stars. Okay, you guys, so those are some of my absolute favorite Frankenstein retellings. I've been wanting to do this video for like 2 years. I may upgrade it as I read more, depending on how many Frankenstein retellings things I can read. I want to do one based on Frankenstein movies next year as well. Because I watched a few. Most of them are pretty bad, but they're still kind of fun to watch. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want more retelling style videos like this in the future. And I will see you guys next time on The Bright Side. Bye!